Here's another important video from the Personal Defense Network. One of the things that my staff instructors and I have begun doing is wearing an emergency medical kit on us at all times when conducting training. This is something that you can do also when you're at the range training. Maybe this kind of kit is also something you want to have in your gear bag, maybe in your family's safe room, or in your vehicle at all times. You never know when you're going to need a kit like this, but of course the chances are higher when you're in a training environment with a lot of people using firearms in close proximity, maybe dynamic situations when you're preparing for personal defense, where you're going to want a kit just like this and the basic fundamental knowledge of how to use it. Andy's here with me today. Let's say that we were on a range and he had just been shot. Maybe he shot himself, maybe someone else in the training environment shot him, maybe it was a failure of a backstop or a ricochet, and he's got a wound to his leg. This wound, of course, is going to be bleeding. Let's say that it's coming in the front here and we've got a lot of blood coming out. We're immediately going to want to enact our safety briefing plan. We would have briefed that morning about what we wanted to do. We certainly would have indicated our personal safety kits, our medical kits that we had on our belt, had with our gear, or maybe had staged on the range. At this point, we have assigned someone to call 911, maybe use a radio, or maybe even go out to the main road if we were on a remote location to meet the ambulance. Maybe we would even contact Life Flight and have a helicopter on the way. As soon as someone has been shot, it's important to contact proper medical authorities, make sure that they're responding, make sure that we're going to get this person to proper medical attention. Meanwhile, we can use an emergency medical kit like this to try to help as much as we can right on the scene. And the first thing that we're going to do is apply pressure. A modular bandage like this is a perfect way to apply pressure to a bullet wound. What's great about this particular bandage, the way it's set up, is that it gives us a pressure cup on the back side of a very absorbent pad. This allows us to, again, identify where the wound would be, use our thumb to put pressure on the absorbent pad directly onto the area where the puncture wound is. Now, if someone were shot through and actually had an entry and an exit wound that was bleeding, we'd need 2 pads to get the best coverage, but if we only had one, of course, we'd take the primary location where the most blood was, and we'd put our thumb with that cup directly over that wound. Another great thing about this particular bandage is that it's got hook and loop fasteners that are built into it so that we don't lose this entire roll as soon as we open the package. I could let go right now if I were distracted, maybe if I were the only one here and I had to be making that phone call to 911. I've opened it up, I've got direct pressure. If this were enough to stabilize the bleeding, I might get on the phone now and be trying to get in touch with the medical authorities. Otherwise, I can take this, wrap it underneath, come around, and use that same hook and loop fastener to secure that bandage and each layer as I go around. And again, I still have plenty of bandage secured here. As much as I needed to go around, as many times as I needed to go around. If the blood were still coming out quickly, if we were still losing a lot of blood from our patient at this point, we're providing medical attention, this person has just become our patient. If we're still losing a lot of blood, especially if we feel like that's arterial blood, if we feel like that blood is pumping out regularly, what we're going to want to do is go back to our medical kit and utilize our tourniquet. Tourniquets come in a variety of different types. This particular type can be opened up so that I can take and slide it under the leg. I don't have to worry about going over the boots, going up the leg or up the arm. I can then secure above the point, of course, between the heart and the wound, above that point. I'm going to turn it so that I have access to the stick or whichever device, if it happens to be a winch that I'm going to use to secure the tourniquet and apply the pressure. Of course, I'm going to twist this down extremely tight. The idea is to stop the blood flow to this limb below the tourniquet. Now, in training purposes, I'm not going to tighten it down that much, but I do want to tighten it enough to show you the way these are actually supposed to be used. I'm now going to slide this nylon enclosure up over the stick on both sides to secure that tourniquet. I now can go back to applying direct pressure, or I can go back on the phone. Maybe I can treat for shock, I can check for other injuries, or I can just talk to this person and let them know that we've done all we can on the scene and we're going to get more help. We're going to take care of this person. Understanding how to use your emergency medical kit, of course, is incredibly important. But if you don't have it with you, and if you don't have it conveniently with you when you need it, you're never going to get that chance. One thing that I really like about this particular kit is that it also comes with a simple Bandaid carrier. This Band-Aid carrier may not be the most important thing in the world, but what it's going to ensure is that you have these bandages, first of all, whenever you need them, and second of all, when you're on the range and you get that little cut, or when you're around your vehicle, or maybe in your home around your safe room, this is where you're going to go for that bandage. This is a low-level medical piece, but what's important is it reminds you of the location of your kit, forces you to open your kit, see that bandage, see that tourniquet, remind yourself mentally of how to access them, where they are, and what you would do if you needed them. It might also be the safety reminder you need to take all those range rules and range procedures very seriously when you're conducting your training. Something like this inside of an emergency medical kit means you're going to know where your kit is at all times. If you just have a tourniquet and it's tucked in the back of your trunk, or it's put in a closet somewhere and you aren't sure where it is, or even in your range bag under 6 other pieces of gear that you hardly ever touch, you may not know where it is when you need it. Medical kits are an important part of your preparation for safe and efficient training. Check out more videos just like this one at the Personal Defense Network.